you mentioned, I forgot the context. You mentioned women's rights and reproductive rights. Do you recall what the context was? I wrote those down, but what was the context?
It was just that what I look for in a man, and I said that he needs to be aligned at least politically with me.
He needs to be aligned politically with you. He needs to be supportive of women's rights and reproductive rights. When you, just for clarification for any of the men out there who might be interested in dating you, or just for the sake of the conversation, when you say supportive of women's rights, what do you mean by that?
Women's right to education, women's rights to an abortion, women's rights to be equal with men, women's right to have a career, etc.
Sure. But so are you saying that women don't have those things currently?
They do. I'm just saying from your stand, there's men who want that submissive woman, and that they want that woman that wants to be a stay-at-home wife, and I don't want that, and that's what I want him to align with.
I see. Okay, so you're not arguing that women don't have these rights.
No. But
there needs to be a continuity of support of existing rights.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I guess on that, getting into the questionnaire for the whole panel, I know some of you probably answered in the negative on this, but do you guys think that when it comes to women's rights, are there any do women have equal rights to men? Show of hands. Do women have equal rights? Okay, let me reframe the question then.
We do have equal rights.
Are there any rights that a man has that a woman does not? Starting with you, I guess.
Not that I can think of at the top of my head.
Okay. Going around the table then?
No.
No?
I'm assuming this is going towards abortion, so I'd say if abortion was illegal, then that would be one right that a man has over a woman, is that a woman doesn't get full say in healthcare.
Well, I mean, men don't have any reproductive rights at all, so it's not wouldn't equality between men and women be to have a national abortion ban? Would that not be equality?
I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
I'm just not sure.
Well, if men don't have any rights when it comes to their reproduction, wouldn't that entail that in order for there to be equality, women wouldn't be allowed to have any rights when it comes to their reproduction? Ergo, there would be no right to an abortion. Would that not be equality then?
Sure.
Okay, so then you're in favor of equality on this topic?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in favor of walking back abortion rights for women then?
No.
So you're in favor of inequality between men and women, in favor of women having more rights?
Like I just think a woman should be able to decide, and that's just my stance.
Yeah, but just to be clear, you're in favor of an inequality of rights between men and women, something that favors more rights to women than to men.
I guess.
Okay, sure. A lot of women have that position. Going around the table.
I don't think there are any rights that men have more than women.
Okay.
Are we talking strictly legally or also privilege, day-to-day base?
I'm talking rights, but we could also have a separate conversation about, I guess, privileges.
If we are talking from a legal standpoint, I don't think there's much nowadays inequality as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I feel like I have to think about this question a little bit more.
You mean, you've had a minute while we've gone around the table.
Yeah, then I just prefer not to answer the question.
It's I've given you quite a bit of leeway already on refusing to answer. You've written no opinion on a lot of these things. I feel like you do have opinions. You're just kind of being it's like intellectual cowardice. You just don't feel comfortable stating your actual opinion. Is that fair to say?
It's not intellectual cowardice. I just don't really want to publicize my views.
So you do have an opinion. You're just scared to share it. I'll accept that, but at least a concession that you're not willing to state your opinion.
I would just like a little bit of privacy if that's available to me.
I suppose I suppose it's just you've come on a podcast to talk, so it's kind of counterintuitive. But what about you?
What was the question?
It's definitely a nuanced question. I think that yes, on paper, women have equal rights to men. But you know, if you're in a country where, yes, like if we're talking about abortion, you know, your child has extreme deformity, they won't make it out of the womb alive, and you're forced to carry this pregnancy, and it kills you in the end. The man did have more right in this and say in this situation.
Well,
How
wait
so?
a second.
How so?
Wait. Well, and not only that, but any time the abortion argument comes up, the argument is never between the life of the child and the mother for like an ectopic pregnancy or something like that. That's already been relinquished. It's always the default that if it's going to be that the baby actually has the chance of killing the mother from some sort of delivery, at that point, everybody agrees, religious and non, that you would default for the life of the mother at that point, and there's good reasons behind that. So but that's not really what's ever entailed in the abortion question. Almost no abortion ever happens because of those reasons. Almost zero of them.
There have been multiple cases in red states where a mom has identified that her child has an abnormality that it won't live out of the fetus, and it's a danger to herself to deliver this child, and she wasn't allowed the access to abortion.
That's never happened.
You can literally
Where?
look it up.
Well, yeah, I'll literally look it up right now. Tell me where.
There was recently a 16-year-old, like it was on the operating table. She died because it was a risk to her life, and this child could not be aborted.
Where?
Earlier on. I'm not sure where. I read up on the case. It was a while ago. I don't remember all the details.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. And by the way, this is a matter of law. They're supposed to default to the life of the mother in the case of ectopic pregnancy where there's a deformity which could kill the mother. They always will do the procedure to save the mother's life. So literally, that just sounds like propaganda. So to be maximum charitable, 16-year-old on operating table can't have abortion, and it kills her, right?
Yes.
Okay, and it kills her. Let's see.
Do you know where this happened?
I don't know. I don't remember. I know it's in a red state where...
I mean, so Andrew, even granting that this happened, I still don't think that this is actually evidence of some sort of, because when we're talking about rights and a comparison of rights between men and women, equal rights would indicate that there's a comparison being made.
Okay, so here I found the case. Okay, at least this is the only case I can find. But this was happening due to a miscarriage. And they were suing because of the miscarriage should have been sped up in order to deliver the fetus.
Exactly.
At that point,
DNC.
hang on. At that point, that was safer, though. The doctors say it was safer to deliver the fetus. They were unaware of any pre-existing condition that would have affected the health of the mother. So she was miscarrying, and they're being sued for malpractice because they didn't do the correct things they were supposed to do. But that really doesn't make your case.
But this case is happening more. Literally in Texas, they're not teaching certain chapters of the OBGYN residency to their residents because it's not in line with their views, and they have to fly out to different states. Like chapters on abortion, chapters on performing abortions.
Andrew, let's just grant it, though.
But for what, though? But for what instances?
The instances, if you cannot physically deliver this child and it's a detriment to you, then you have to...
There is not any... nobody is refusing to teach OBGYNs in Texas that if the health of the mother and the welfare of the mother is at stake, meaning she's going to die if she goes into delivery for this kid, that they can't do an emergency abortion. That is completely nonsense. I would love to know. You can even send it to me after the show. But there's no way that that's true. There's simply no way that that's true.
But are they not omitting education?
Yeah, I mean, it
especially
depends
in
on what
reproductive rights.
It depends on what the education is for. Like, okay, public schools probably omit education for how to build a nuclear bomb. Yeah, so what? Like, good. They should omit that education. So you would need to tell me what the education is they're omitting and how it would be pertinent to this idea.
One sec. Or go ahead.
I'm saying it's pertinent because you should teach everything. I don't know. I know you're asking me to say specific examples, but if you are in any state in the
Should
U.S.
you teach kids how to build Uzis?
No, because I'm talking
no.
about OBGYN.
So we shouldn't teach everything.
I'm talking about the OBGYN residency specifically for medical students because that's
Yeah,
pertinent
why
to the
should we
situation.
teach them everything? If there's a moral dilemma, like, would you teach a doctor how to poison patients? No, right? So there's all sorts of things that you wouldn't teach people who are in a residency if there's a moral dilemma. So the question is, like, absent whatever the specific education you're talking about in regards to abortion, if it's outside the scope of the moral dilemma, why would you teach it to them?
It's not outside the scope of the moral dilemma, though.
Then what is it?
I'm saying they should have full access to know everything. Whether or not they can perform
Why?
it, that is up to each state.
Yeah, why? You don't know? You don't know why they should have access to all that? You can't tell me what it is they're not being educated in. You can't tell me what state it's in. You can't tell me any of these specific cases, but you're adamant that it's happening. That doesn't sound like complete fake news to you?
You can
Like
literally look it
possibly
up.
Democrat propagandizing?
You can look it up.
I just looked it up. I couldn't find the case anywhere. The only case that I could find was in this miscarriage. I couldn't find any case of the mother's actual, body going to die based on a previous diagnosis of an abnormality. That's complete nonsense. And by the way, the reason Democrats lost the most recent election is because there was women all over the place saying shit like this. And when people would look it up, they found out it was bullshit. It was total bullshit. When we get down to it, the real moral dilemma of abortion does not come down to 0.1% of them, which happens when it affects the life of the mother. Almost no abortion is done that way. Can you at least agree with that? Almost zero abortion done in the United States has anything to do with the life of the mother.
Okay, but what about if it was a 10-year-old, and then you're not agreeing with the life of the mother? It's not detrimental.
Well, that's true, and I'll directly contend with this.
Okay, then we can agree.
If you were SA'd at a party, sexually assaulted at a party, does that mean that you can go home and kill another one of your kids?
Sorry, what's the question again?
If you were SA'd at a party and you had 2 children, could you go home and then kill one of them because you were SA'd?
Did you or did you not consent?
Can you answer my
to
question
that,
before you ask
carrying
me
that
one?
child?
I'll answer yours, but answer mine. So to start with, if you are SA'd at a party, does it give you the right to go home and unalive one of your kids?
No,
Why?
because that's a life you're taking that exists.
That's right. And so that's the exact counter argument to the argument of you being SA'd and delivering. You don't have a right to then take the life of somebody else, even though a horrible thing happened to you.
But you're forced to carry through with it.
You're not forcing them to do anything. You're saying that they're not allowed to kill somebody else who's external to them.
But you're forcing the woman to go through,
Yes,
might I say, a
that's true.
traumatic
We force
pregnancy.
people all the time to not murder people. That's true.
Okay, well, can we please move on to another
Why?
topic?
Does it make you uncomfortable that there's a counter argument here?
We're having a reasonable conversation.
I think so.
I would say that, yes, I would need to do more research on the topic. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.